The movie begins in 1693, where a young man named Thackery Binx wakes up abruptly when he sees a witch pass outside his window. He immediately begins searching for his younger sister, Emily, who he spots following the witch into the woods. Binx alerts a neighbor to inform the town elders and rushes after Emily to rescue her, but unfortunately, he arrives too late and the witch takes Emily into her house. The main witch, Winnie, and her two sisters, Sarah and Mary, make a potion using a dead man's toe and some tongues. And just as they are about to force the potion upon Emily, Binx intervenes by throwing the potion at Sarah and Mary. However, before he can save Emily, the witches make her drink the potion, draining her life and regaining their youth. The Sanderson sisters then transform Binx into a black cat, cursing him to live forever with the guilt of being unable to save his sister. The townspeople arrive at the scene and capture the witches, but just before their execution, Winnie places a curse that will resurrect the sisters during a full moon on All Hallows Eve if a virgin lights the black flame candle in their cottage. Determined to prevent this, Binx vows to guard the cottage to ensure no one can bring the witches back to life. The teacher narrates the tale 3 centuries later in a high school classroom. Still, a new student, Max Dennison, opposes the story, claiming that Halloween is just a conspiracy created by candy companies. His classmate, Allison, counters his argument, explaining that Halloween is when spirits can return to the living world. On returning from school, Max encounters 2 bullies who trap him and steal his shoes. He arrives home barefoot and frustrated, resenting his parents for moving to this town. Max lies on his bed, but soon his sister Dani emerges from the closet to scare him and insists that Max take her trick-or-treating. His parents force Max to accompany his sister. As they set out, Dani comes across the same bullies who demand 10 chocolate bars from her to let her go. She refuses, claiming that her big brother will protect her, but the bullies continue humiliating Max until he hands over all his candy. After some time, Max scolds Dani for her boldness, which makes her cry. Max apologizes and decides to take her to the largest house in town for trick-or-treating, which coincidentally belongs to Allison. During their visit, Dani and Allison express interest in witches. Allison shares that there used to be a witch museum in town, but it closed down due to unsettling events. Max suggests they go there, and while exploring the abandoned museum, they decide to leave when a black cat attacks Max. Max, believing that the talk of witches is nonsense, lights the black candle in the museum, causing all the lights to go out, the ground to shake, and all the candles to ignite. Suddenly, the door swings open, revealing the Sanderson sisters. Dani hides quickly, but the sisters can smell a child in the house. Max tries to rescue Dani, but is electrocuted by Winnie, and Allison uses a broom to rescue Dani. And Binx, the black cat, converses and urges him to take a book. So Max turns on the water sprinklers, frightening the witches as he steals the book and escapes. Binx leads the group to an old cemetery, explaining that they are safe from the witches there because it's hollowed ground, a land where witches can't step. He instructs them to keep the book hidden, and Max attempts to burn it but finds it protected by powerful magic. Meanwhile, the witches reveal that they must drink a potion and take the lives of children from Salem tonight, or they will turn into dust by the morning and be gone forever. They hasten their pursuit and eventually catch up to the group at the cemetery while flying on their brooms. Winnie resurrects her former love interest, Billy Butcherson, from the grave and sends him after the children. Max, while fleeing, attacks Billy with a tree branch, causing his head to fall off. The group escapes into an underground sewage with the help of Binx's knowledge of the area. On the witches' side, they encounter a bus and instruct the driver to take them where they can find the children. Just as Binx and Max emerge from an underground sewage system through a gutter, the bus crashes Binx. Dani begins to cry, but she soon realizes that Binx is cursed with immortality and returns to life. Mary detects the scent of children and asks the driver to drop them off at a house where many children have gathered for trick-or-treating. There they encounter a man dressed as Satan and are convinced he is their master and savior. Max and the girls find a police officer, but he scolds them, thinking they are pranking him. He shoos them away, then shares a laugh with his friend about the kids mistaking him for a real cop, not realizing he's just a cosplayer. The witches are kicked out of Satan's house by his wife after she catches Winnie poking around her kitchen, Mary watching TV too loudly, and Sarah dancing with her husband. Once outside, they discover their brooms have been stolen. Finally, Winnie realizes that all the hobgoblins are just children in costumes and that Satan is not their master, but just a man in a costume. Meanwhile, Max, Dani, and Allison attend a Halloween party to find Max's parents. Dani searches for her mom, while Max's dad, dressed as Dracula, playfully startles Max. Dani eventually finds her mother, who is dressed as Madonna, and tries to explain the situation, but her mom dismisses it, thinking Dani has had too much candy. Reuniting with Max and their dad, the parents still don't believe the story. However, Max spots the Sanderson sisters in the party crowd and takes matters into his own hands. He goes up on stage, interrupting the performer, to make an urgent announcement about the witch's return and the dangers to their children. The partygoers burst into laughter, not taking Max seriously. Undeterred, Max insists he's telling the truth and shines a spotlight on the witches, who thank him for the introduction. The witches then take the stage and start to sing their song, captivating the guests and cursing them to party all night. Allison develops a plan as the group hides in the party's kitchen. They lure the witches to their high school kitchen, and Allison cleverly closes the door behind them, trapping the witches in the pottery kiln. They turn on the oven, and the witches are burned. After celebrating the demise of the witches, Binx finally feels relief at having avenged Emily's death. He advises Max to care for Dani, as one never truly appreciates someone until they are gone. Just as Binx is about to leave, Max stops him, saying he should come home as his pet. So Dani takes Binx home, and they both fall asleep. However, they celebrated too early, as the witches are revived by their curse. They return to their house, and Winnie weeps while calling the spellbook to herself. The book hears her cry from Max's home, and Allison wakes up, realizing it's 5 in the morning, and she has spent the entire night out. As she hurries back home, Max expresses his wish to return Binx back into a human. Alice opens up the spellbook to find a way to transform Binx. The light emitted from the book alerts the witches to its location. Allison reads that a circle of salt can protect people from witches, and Binx wakes up and warns them not to open the book, as nothing good will come from it. Allison and Max hurry downstairs to get salt when they hear a commotion upstairs. They discover the book is missing, and Max finds Sarah in Dani's place. Winnie and Mary hiding in Dani's closet. They reveal themselves, electrocuting Max. However, before they can reach Allison, she sprinkles salt all around herself, forcing the witches to fly away, taking Dani with them. Max awakens after some time, and they hear Sarah hypnotizing all the children, making them follow her to their home. Max tries to break the children's trance, but they follow Sarah. The witches brew the potion and attempt to force it into Dani, but she refuses to drink it. Just as things get serious, Max arrives with car headlights that the witches mistake for the sun, which terrifies them. Max quickly frees Dani and Binx, kicking the potion to prevent any harm to the children. They hop into the car, and as the car headlights fade, the witches awaken once more and find only enough potion left for one child. They are determined to find Dani, as Winnie now desires her soul. Max and the group reach the cemetery, and the witches attack from the air, snatching Dani. Winnie tries to use the last potion vial to drain Dani's soul, but Binx knocks the potion out of her hand. Max catches and drinks it himself, forcing the witches to take him instead of Dani. The sun begins to rise just as Winnie is about to complete the soul-draining process. Allison and Dani deal with Mary and Sarah. Max and Winnie, locked in mid-air struggle, fall into hollowed ground in the cemetery, causing Winnie to turn into stone. As the sun rises, Mary and Sarah disintegrate into dust, along with Winnie's stone body. The witch's death breaks Binx's curse, allowing him to finally pass away, his soul reuniting with Emily as they both head into the afterlife, and Billy returns to his grave to rest. However, the spell book belonging to Winifred opens its one eye, signifying that it is still alive, leaving a hint that the witches could potentially return someday. Hocus Pocus, released in 1993, directed by Kenny Ortega, produced on a budget of approximately $28 million. Despite its initial lukewarm reception at the box office, Hocus Pocus gained immense popularity in the subsequent years, especially during the Halloween season. Its annual airings on television channels have made it a Halloween staple. While the film, set in Salem, Massachusetts, and incorporated some of its real history, much of Hocus Pocus was filmed on sound stages. Some of the outdoor scenes were indeed shot in location in Salem. The enchanting mix of humor, horror, and heart in Hocus Pocus has solidified its place as a beloved Halloween classic for many. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications and leave a like to help the channel out.